All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Auditor Heifel will lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time we'll open the meeting up for any public comments for any topic that isn't on the agenda. Anyone wish to address us this morning? Out there on the phone or online? Seeing none, we will move on. Residents of Eisenhower Circle regarding the order from the beef plant. Who would like to be the spokesperson?
I guess that's me. I don't know if I should stand, I don't know.
You can have a chair just on the table.
Alrighty. So, I don't think I really need to talk too much. I have an idea that you guys have been in contact with Adam, I believe his name is, over at the beef plant. And I'm just hopeful that maybe you have some answers for us. I was actually provided a couple things from Scott Bader down in zoning and planning regarding some mechanical issues they were having over the past 3 months. I also know someone took a tour there recently as well. So I'm just hopeful that we have some response today.
As far as the solution, we don't have a solution. We've got some research that we have been doing and will continue to do. When the beef plant was originally built, there was a conditional use permit issued by the city that had certain requirements in it. And in the meantime, we have issued a condition, Brown County has issued a conditional use permit for the rendering plant with certain requirements. And so what we're doing now is looking into whether indeed our newest conditional use permit supersedes the one from 2006, because they serve a different purpose. So we're looking into that to make sure we're doing that right. And as far as the odor, the mechanical issues that you referred to, we were told that, and again, this is just in conversations, we haven't had any in-depth meetings per se, but we were told that they did have some mechanical issues in the rendering area that was causing some release of odor, is what we were told. So we have to do considerably more research to see. Well, first of all, let me back up. We as a county, we really don't have anything in our ordinances specifically addressing odor. We've got a section that deals with nuisances, but what my recommendation at this point is, while we're looking into and researching exactly what we can and can't do and what legally we can and can't do, what we're recommending is, if you can provide documentation, time of day, the date that you notice the strongest odor. And that's obviously going to be when we have a strong south wind, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But if those of you in the neighborhood would start documenting this, then that would give us what we need if we're going to proceed. One of the conditions of our conditional use permit, it does allow for some action if there is a problem, but without any type of documentation. I mean, we can't just go in there and say, yeah, it stinks. I mean, this whole thing stinks, but I mean, we need some type of proof and documentation.
Sure.
So if you as a group can write down, okay, October 17th, woke up at 8 a.m. and the odor was really bad. The wind was out of the south that day at 20 to 30 miles an hour, which isn't unusual. So, but that's the type of documentation that we need if we're going to proceed.
Yeah.
Because if we take the action that the terms of the conditional use permit allow, I mean, that's it's pretty drastic, and we can't just do it on a whim or just a hunch that it smells, because, you
Yeah, I
know, we
mean, I
need
don't-
documentation.
I don't think we're asking you to revoke any permits or not allow them to do this. We understand how important this is. Just maybe some sort of communication with them there to see what it is that's creating the problem when they stated that it wouldn't.
And
that
that's
sort of
what
thing,
we
yeah.
plan on doing.
Okay.
What's the current status of the mechanical failure? Have you gotten it fixed? How long has it been fixed? Have we noticed the smell since then? You know, those are the things that we need to research and communicate with them.
Yeah.
And we've done some just internal visits since we were here last Tuesday, but we really haven't had a chance to meet with them and go down and say, okay, show us what the problem was, and can you verify that it was fixed, and this should take care of the problem. So those are the next steps for us.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do work. I can certainly, every time I'm outside, I can certainly make a note, but it is just that. It is when the wind
Yep.
is.
Well, if I can just, yesterday it was not windy. I went to my physical therapy, I got home at 10:30 in the morning, I opened my door to my vehicle, and there it was. I walked through the garage to my backyard, my husband's been almost all day outside. He comes walking up, he goes, there it is, stinks, doesn't it? I go, yeah. And I said, it's not even windy today. This is really unusual. But I mean, that bee plant's right outside my backyard, pretty much.
So
that was
document that.
unusual.
Yep,
But I
document
will.
that, so that we can show, okay, even on a non-windy day or very little wind,
It was
we're
there.
still realizing the smell, so.
Does
as
that
soon as-
continue throughout the day and into the evening?
Oh,
or-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a smell unlike anything you've ever smelled, and we're farm people. You know what I mean? We know what barnyards smell like. This ain't
Is there-
nothing like that.
Their
Where it's got-
operation ends usually at 5 or 6 in the day. So I'm just wondering if it's...
Oh,
smelly
well,
at night.
you know, probably in the evening, but, you know,
Not if the window's blowing.
yeah, it's...
But at night, it's not prevalent. It's usually throughout the day during working.
No,
hours.
it's prevalent into the evening.
Yeah, because I usually work and get home in the evening. Smell it.
Yeah, it's not late hours of the night, but it is in the evening. I
Right.
too
When
was
you could
told
still be
operations
outside
on 5.
enjoying your time.
So yeah, I mean, we appreciate it. We'll start documenting whatever you need us to do. We will do, because some sort of solution.
You do that on your end, and rest assured, we are taking this seriously. We will
Thank
do
you.
some,
We appreciate it.
we will do some research. We'll visit with the beef plant and go down and visit if we have to, so we can get documentation that whatever the problem, maybe the problem is still going on. Because I know at one time they said they were waiting for parts, is what I was told, right, Scott?
Yeah, and I looked up the date, September 19th is when, I had talked to Adam, and I think I had talked, that was on a Thursday, and then I had talked to you on the following Tuesday. So he said that, you know how it is for ordering parts. You'll have a lot of the parts there right away, and then you sit and wait on something that you need, to be able to start, but.
Yep.
I can assure you that we've been smelling it longer than the 3 months.
I agree.
Yep.
But I do have to admit, it's been
Really.
really bad. So it makes somewhat of sense to me, so it's giving me like slight hope that they were having mechanical issues and it's been even worse, so.
3 months, what's 3 months?
I think when we discussed something, remember the mayor reached out to Adam, and then Adam came back and said that the past 3 months have been the worst because of some sort of mechanical issues or something like that.
Okay. The mayor had talked to him on the 18th of September.
Yeah, I guess someone called town hall as well, so,
Okay,
yeah, that's all we can.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, the trucks that are hauling out the waste for rendering, are they open to the air or are they still tankers? Maybe that's some of your smell.
I don't know, that would be a question we'll ask them.
It does smell, it,
Yeah, I can't answer
It's
that, I don't know what,
consistent.
I don't know what
Yeah,
kind of
it's not
truck they're
just-
calling.
Like a passing by smell. I wish.
Well, next time it smells, I would like to have you guys come down and just experience the smell.
I
So
go
you
by
know
there all
we're
the
talking-
time.
Huh?
I go by there all the
Okay.
time trying to witness it.
Yep,
I've caught a drift of it.
yep.
nasty.
All right, well, we will
All right.
continue to
Thank
do
you.
our homework and try to get
Thank
to the
you.
bottom of it, and rest assured, we take it seriously, and, we'll do what we can to try and fix the problem.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
All right,
thank you,
thank you.
thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Dirk Rogers, Highway Superintendent. Discuss approach culverts west of Mansfield and surplus equipment. Good morning, Dirk. I saw him walk by.
Did you see it coming?
No, not a problem. Just out there.
You wanna get some recognition, don't you?
There aren't many days that we don't, so.
You can move some stuff in this room. I got a better spot than you do. Scott. Yeah, you got it right in the corner, like everything is right there. I got the news right behind me, so if I say anything stupid, she's got it like loud.
I saw him walk by. Oh. Lynn, go ahead and start with some consent calendar items.
Okay. Approval of the general meeting minutes of October 1st.
Motion by Denner,
Second.
second by Gage, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, motion carries. Now back to the agenda. Good morning, Dirk.
Geez, I didn't think that was gonna be done for a while, but
There you go thinking again.
times are changing apparently. First thing we got on here is, culvert and the approaches west of Mansfield. We had IMAG look at it, look at about 4 different scenarios, see what would happen. I don't have the final report yet, because it's not ready yet. We got all the data, it just hasn't been put into, a
Final form.
reasonable format. Excuse me. I do have some copies of a few things we can talk about today, though. So they looked at, I spun out like 15 copies, so if we don't have enough, I'll just start making stuff up. So on this little chart here, the existing condition is what's here today, with 18-inch pipe in there. And I'll give you a little map here, or I'll hold it up so we can all look at it. But they took 3 cross sections, and those 3 cross sections are on the right, they're on the right side. Anybody didn't get one that really needs one? Here, give me 2 of those back, you guys gotta share. You legislators, don't be offended, I just didn't print out enough copies. That's right.
We're not offended.
I'm using the public's resources efficiently. So the first one there is the existing condition, that's the way it is right now. The pre-existing condition is what it would have been before the approach went in there. And, so if you start with the existing one, I'm sorry, if you looked at those pictures, it shows you where the three cross-sections are. That's what the picture is, that's where the, so cross-section A, B, and C are, you know, they correspond on the drawing there. Does that make sense to everybody? So if you look at the pre-existing condition, by putting the approach in there, worst case scenario in a two-year flood event, it raises it 2,300s. So that's the worst case scenario unless I'm missing something on the whole sheet. So the most impact we had was just putting the approach in there to begin with. If you slide down to where go below the existing, that's putting 2 24-inch pipe in there, in the approach. Nothing in the road, 2 24 inches in the approach. I'm willing to go up to 2 3-footers in the approach because they'll fit, and we'll put them in there. But I'll tell you, it's not gonna make any difference, it's a placebo deal. But we will put them in there if it makes people feel better, but it won't drain any more water. It doesn't change anything, 3 versus 2 really. And then, and you can see on that one, putting 2 24s in there compared to the existing condition of 118, which is correct, right, Tom? There's 118 in there now, right?
Yes.
You put 2 24s in there, you can see the impact it has, largest being the 25-year event and the one cross-section, and it'll change it 400s. And then the bottom one, that's got the 4-footer in the road. And you can see on that as well, that only drops, if putting a 4-footer through the road only drops at 1800s. The cost of, I mean, if we had any kind of cost of benefit ratio analysis on it, it wouldn't even come close to do that. But like I said, there's value, a little bit of value maybe in putting them in the approach. It'll move the water through, but putting some through the road there doesn't. Basically, the model showing, and when we get the whole report, you'll be able to look at it better. You know, because he'll have this map showing each scenario. But by the time that pipe underneath the road's full, the water has moved this way in here. So before this pipe would ever run full, all this water's gonna be up here moving this way.
To the east.
Right. And all I'm doing is regurgitating the engineer's numbers here. When we get the full report, anybody that wants a copy can have one. Somebody up at the courthouse will have to let me use the color copy or it'll work better. But, it's all public information and you can look at it. And I'd say, I haven't got the bill for this yet, but it's somewhere between 15 and 18,000 is what it costs to do this. So.
Remind me where the approach is, Dirk.
The approach is
like somewhere in here.
Yeah, it's really close and Tom can get specific there, but it's kind of where that cross-section B is. And then, well, it's up in the right, further north. So it's up in here. And Tom can verify that. The approach is up here.
Yeah, okay, so it's farther west.
But like a lot of things, just like you have a 20-to-1 slope or a really flat slope on the side of something, every 100 you come up, you're gonna go
Wider.
Yeah.
Because the water was going just like this.
So my recommendation would be, we'll go down and put in the 3-footers in the driveway. But I struggle with supporting cutting through the road right now. There doesn't seem to be much value in it when you look at the models.
So this is, just the culverts in the approaches? Nothing's in the road?
Yeah, well, the last one it is.
Oh,
That's got a
the road.
4-footer in the road.
Okay. That's if you put one in the road.
Correct. So the very top, the pre-existing was before the approach went in,
Okay.
and then existing is with an 18, it just gets bigger as you go down. 18-inch, This has 224s just in the approach, but not the road, and the bottom one would have 2 in the approach and a 4-footer in the road.
You compare the numbers from the pre-existing to even the bottom one with the 48 inch in the road, the difference is so insignificant, it doesn't even really matter.
Well, I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter, but it's...
But I mean, the numbers speak for
Right,
themselves.
right.
Well, when you get it in there to the map, will that show you kinda, you know, for every inch or hundredth, kinda how much water will go out
Yeah,
into on the
it-
maps? It'll show you that, 'cause that's what, I mean, that's kinda the issue, you know?
Yep.
It goes up a little bit, but it just keeps covering more ground.
Exactly.
More than...
Yeah, so basically looking at this, before this ever gets completely loaded up down here,
It'll start to
this
go.
goes like this, is basically what happens. And like I said, you'll get those, oh, I'm the only one, did I keep the colored one? I guess I'm a fancy ass with the colored map, but it's, it'll be this, and it'll show you all them other scenarios on the, you know, this would be before anything happens. This is the top one. This is what it looks like before the approach went in, basically. And then you'll have all these, and you'll see that all this yellow-orange area starts moving this way, showing where the water goes. But I'll be happy to, everybody can have a copy of that, that's no big deal. And yes, it shows that in there. And actually, when they get done, I don't wanna go too far out in the weeds here, okay? But we spent the money on the data, so if you have a specific question, like you say, okay, well, what's it look like up here then? We can answer that question, but I don't wanna have to, if we start going 2 miles this way and 2 miles that way, now we're gonna get into a whole bunch more money. But if you have some questions about this, they might be able to find some more answers with the data we already got here. Just do a different query on the information.
Sure.
And then, when the report's all done, I don't have a problem with you guys after everybody looks at it, if they're like, okay, wait a minute, this looks hinky, or they don't understand it, or you think it's witchcraft, or whatever, we can revisit again. And, because I don't wanna be putting culverts in 47 times, but if we do this and you guys are still uncomfortable based on something in that report, we can revisit it. It's the county putting the culverts in, so we can do it ourselves. It's not like we gotta get down there with 14 attorneys and 10 contractors every time we gotta do something, so. But it's really hard for me to move off the recommendation of putting those 2 3-footers in there, which, like I said, I think is overkill, but I don't have a problem doing it. And go from there, I guess, would be my recommendation.
Timeline, you would do that yet this fall?
Yep.
Okay.
And I would make sure that I got a contact for you, so when we're ripping, if we're impeding access to your house, we're doing it on a day that you know about it and all that, but.
Well, my opinion is, I'd like the one on the road too, the 48, just that, I mean, you go years back, I mean, that's the natural flow of the water through there, you know, like, there's that, you probably got a copy. I just think that would help alleviate stuff also, like Tom said at that one meeting where you know, you're pushing so much water around to
I got that.
the east side of Mansfield, that this would just help alleviate the stuff there, and I think that road would maybe stay better also. I mean, that's my opinion with stuff, you know.
I'm not discounting your opinion, and obviously I learned over my years of surveyor and dealing with drainage that there's a lot more value in the locals than most people are willing to give them, so I'm not discounting that. But everything, there's absolutely nothing that, I mean, what is it, 900s or something, so that, I agree with you, yes, it would help, but.
Well, it would help when it's the major events, you know.
Yep.
Because then it can
Is this for that,
alleviate
with
two
the
ways.
dirt, is that what you're looking at for 224s across the road here?
No, it's
No,
in the ditch.
Culvert.
Yeah, but,
Oh,
well, you're
you-
talking the approach, and you're talking the road, I guess that's.
Yeah, So the
Where are
road,
we at on the road part? Where's the culvert?
it's right with your finger, right there where
That's where it's crossing through the
Yeah.
natural way?
Yeah, but there's no culvert there now.
Well, but that's where you would put it, that would be
Yeah.
the
Right.
point. And if you were gonna put them in the approach, you're talking somewhere
Right there.
right there also?
Yep, that's just over, it's right,
Okay.
yeah, it's all in the same spot.
Warner Township's opinion would be to put the one on the road too, just to help alleviate the high stuff, because otherwise we just keep watching. And that, you know, if it gets high, it'll run south. And if it gets high enough, it'll keep going south there before it comes back around. And that's when this got changed, why we're putting so much back around through all that stuff by Mansfield there.
And there's always more water coming from the east, filling that whole drainage area up from the Aberdeen drainage area all the way down to there.
As they put the
And a lot
bigger
of that
culverts
water
in.
that normally would into
281.
the Moccasin Creek is flooding over into the Mansfield Slough and already filling that pump full, and you're trying to run this other whole drainage area into that same water. There's roads north of Mansfield that are flooded and been washed out 2 or 3 times, just because that water to the west cannot get
That'd be culvert.
south where it's supposed to be going. It's just a total mess the way that's been set up.
We got her. In 281, when they redid that, they went from 24s to 36s. But we keep adding water on top, and so, it should be the other way, work bottom up, but
This would let that water go through that road and south, and it wouldn't be putting extra height and pressure on the water to the east, coming out of Aberdeen, it's already down there.
Why put them in the approach? I mean,
Yep, I agree with you, but,
That's just
if we're talking
like a
two-
pop-off spout.
2/10, worst case scenario, it's 2/10. You know, we raised it 2/10.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment here too. Like for 2 years, a 2-year average, this is last 2 years, I don't know if it's 24 and 23, or 22 and 23, but there was no flooding at that time. So, or high waters even. So, to me, the 2-year don't make any difference. The 5-year, it might take in the 2019 when the water was higher, but you're still averaging out over the other 4 years where you didn't have any high waters. The 10-year doesn't cover the bad flooding we had in 2011 or in 97.
So those numbers aren't, those are different classes, those don't really have anything to do with years. The 2-year means there's a 50% chance of that happening this year. The 25-year means there's a 1/4% chance of that happening this year. Or excuse me, 4%
So we never looked at
chance.
the actual waterfall.
Well, that's gonna vary on everything, but like, this is shot in the dark, and this is not legal binding, this isn't anything, this is a point of reference, okay? I'm just giving you a point of reference, because a 2-inch rain in the parking lot and a 2-inch rain north of Mansfield are gonna do 2 entirely different things, okay? But a 2-year event would be like over about like a 2-inch rain over a couple, 3 hours, would be a 2-year event. So what this is saying is, they're figuring the likelihood of that, based on history, is that's gonna happen, you got a chance of that happening.
Well, that tells me right away that it's not a very good estimate because we already
Okay.
know what happened.
So, I've given my recommendation, I'm to the point where Clark Engineering, or IMEG's gonna have to come in and explain it, or else the state's attorney's office will have to get involved, because I went through the process here, and we got someone, registered engineers, to take the liability away from us. Now, that's as far as setting the minimum. If the commission wishes to exceed, or if Warner Township wants to cost share culverts down there, that would be another thing we could look at. But, there's nothing in the data or in this report that's gonna lead me to recommend putting a pipe in the road on my own, okay? So, that's my recommendation. You guys do what you need to do with that, but that's where that's where I'm at right now.
Okay?
But I'm not gonna sit here and argue theory on hydrology. I'm not qualified.
I'd like to make some comments as not jury or anything like that. that waterway was diverted early, or at the latest in 1957. When they diverted that, he ran it right down the ditch. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. So that waterway right now is still illegal, because they're using the ditch. You guys didn't dig back 20 feet and make a new canal or anything like that. It's illegal. And I really doubt if Army Corps of Engineers were asked back then if you guys could divert the creek and stop the natural waterway.
So who did this?
Excuse me?
Who did this? Who diverted it?
We don't know. We know it was diverted by 1957.
But did the county do it? Did the county cause it to be diverted? I mean, was it the county's idea, do you know?
Who else would it be?
Well, I don't see what the value in it for us would be. So, I mean, just be sure that who did it first before you start accusing the county, that's all I'm saying.
Well, it doesn't matter who did it first, it's a county responsibility now.
Well, and we've done our responsibility and got an engineer to give us a solution, and the commission's free to take that wherever they want, I guess.
And as far as the county's responsibility, I think we spent a pretty significant amount of money asking professional engineers their professional opinion, and what they recommend is 224s. The county is willing to do 236s as a show of good faith and to maybe ease some of the concerns. So we're actually upsizing from what the engineers are advising. So I'm suggesting we go with Dirk's recommendation, and his recommendation is based on the engineer's study and in-depth study. So I would be inclined to go with 2 36-inch pipes in the approach.
I guess just a comment I'll make. Going down there, is it fair to say both, from all three of you, the approach that we're talking, anything larger than a 36 would cause the approach to have to be raised up quite a bit? A 36 is kind of what logically would fit in there under the approach.
Yeah, that would probably fit the best in anything. That's otherwise just gonna make, yeah.
I think, because you obviously you don't want to raise that approach up any more than you have to, you know, because worst case scenario, the water gets so high that it goes over that approach, so you don't want it to act like a dam any more than it probably already is. So I do think it makes sense to go with the 236s there, but maybe we wait and see for a year or two or whatever and decide later if something does need to go under the road or not. Because we can always revisit it. I guess if the water backs up and, you know, if you guys are right and it's backed up and it's way higher for a long ways and it's causing problems, then maybe we come back and go underneath the road with the larger 48 or something similar to that. But start with the 36 under the approach, because that's that's simple, and it still moves a heck of a lot more water than the 18-inch that's there now. So I'm saying, why don't we start with the 36s and revisit this and see if later something needs to be done or not. That's kind of the way I'm leaning at this point, from what I'm hearing both from Dirk and from you guys.
So you're saying that it's legal to use that ditch as a waterway?
Oh, I don't know if it is legal or not. That's
So
not a
you
good
find
question
that
for
out
me.
first before you make a decision?
Well, the culvert's already there now, so, I mean, obviously, we're just increasing the size of it. As to whether or not it's legal to go through a ditch, that's not probably the best.
Actually, I'd like you to chase that down because of drain tile. I'm trying to figure that out too, so let me know how you come out.
The only way I trace it down is to just call the Army Corps of Engineers and ask them if they can figure out this mess.
They have regulation in 57?
I have no idea, but I know that Army Corps of Engineers are responsible for all moving waters.
Not if they were established prior to their establishment. Because we have a couple channels that they don't regulate because they were given to us prior to that.
Do you not want a culvert under the approach? Or are you...
Well, you guys got pictures from the handout I gave you.
Right.
You've seen how high the water was before spring even came in December of
Right.
2010. And there was no culvert in there, and there was no approach in there. And you're telling me this is gonna work, even when we have a picture of it. And I took pictures all the time when it was high on that side. when there's no approach in there. I wish I would've now, but you're trying to tell me that didn't happen?
No, I'm not trying to say it didn't happen. I'm trying to say let's do the 36, because I think it makes sense to put that in without raising the approach up more, and then come back and see if it works or not. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then we come back to Plan B and have to go under the road. But obviously, it's gonna come at a fairly, it's gonna be expensive to go under the road. So my thoughts are, let's wait and see if it's needed, because right now it's probably, at least based on what Dirk is saying and what you're saying, it's questionable as to whether or not it's gonna be cost effective to go under the road. I mean, ideally you would, if it was free. I think you would probably agree with that. If it didn't cost anything, you'd just go under the road. But
Somebody'd have to deal with dumping the water south of there, but yeah.
do we wanna spend the money? And it's like, if we have to, yes, but if we can get away with not, then no. That's my thought.
Okay, if you're talking about spending the money, I believe it was in 2011, all the road got flooded over there, and was ready to go over the road, on the Mansfield Slough on Highway 27.
You're talking about on the east side of Mansfield? Yeah.
Yes. Now, when the water gets that high, and then all your other highways that are north of 27, some on 27 yet, are gonna have that high water. You have trucks drive over that, it's soft underneath, you're gonna break up the road. An article I was reading where, Dirk was interviewed, it was about $175,000 a mile to repave. So if you gotta repave just that .55 miles, on the Mansfield Slough because of the high water there, that's over $96,000 right there. Now, if you're gonna do any of the roads up farther north and stuff, it's just gonna keep on multiplying. So how can you tell me it's not cost effective just to put a dang culvert and have it do, and restore the natural waterway?
Well, I'm not saying it is or isn't cost effective. I'm saying I think we should wait and see based on what it looks like next year or the year after, and then make that decision. I don't know if it is or not. So I'm saying let's try to get a better idea based on if the 36-inch culverts work or not.
And if we have a
Because
drop,
I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I'm just saying why not do what's logical now that, get the 236s and then come back and make our decision after we have a little more info based on real weather patterns and runoff.
but the next 2 years are gonna be dry years like it is farther south, then you're gonna say, yeah, it worked great.
Well, I mean, the extremes make the averages, so we'll see. I mean, eventually we'll see, whether it's this year or next year, at some point we'll see a wet year and a dry year. I mean, so, I guess you want on a average to slightly wetter than average year, you want it to work. I mean, you're probably not gonna have your 100-year floods and everything looks perfect, but...
Go ahead, Mike.
Isn't there a culvert though farther down where that thing loops around from the south?
Yeah.
What size is that? That goes through the road?
24, I think.
24.
Through the road down there.
Down there?
Yeah.
That only
That's where
gives you
that
about
loop goes
3.9 cubic feet of flow.
Was there something bigger there before than the 24?
I have no idea. When I first got there, 97, some years later, I don't know if it's the very end of the 90s or beginning of 2000, but the culvert blew out and semis almost plugged into the hole there. And so we replaced it then. I have no idea if that was a much bigger culvert or smaller one, or same size. And that's the other thing too, if you already blew that out twice to stay in the last, 24 years, that tells me you got way too much water on one side trying to push through there, it's blowing out your culverts, or culvert.
Oh yeah, if that was all that was there, was, a small one.
So evidently, there must be a problem that he's blowing that culvert out.
Well, and when, I went up and took a drive with Jared, and there's clearly some much larger culverts up north, so that's something to consider into the future. I just think with the approach, specifically, I think 236s make sense, and then as to whether or not you do more later or not, I just think you come back and consider that after you have a chance to see whether or not they're working.
What's the plan with that road? You know, it's milled up now or whatever.
It'll be paved in the spring.
It will be.
Yep.
So it'd be nice to have stuff figured out before then, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through these, now it's kinda, I feel now is a good time to do it, just 'cause stuff's milled up and you got time to pound stuff in, but.
So I wanna recap this whole thing. When this started, it was about an approach permit. And I made a bad call. Bader called me and said, hey, that's too small.
No, I said
Well,
the
whatever.
customer is
Yeah.
questioning.
And I said, well, put in whatever you want, and he didn't want to make that call, so. That somehow, the size of the pipe in that approach was evolved into putting pipe in 27 and all this other stuff. The thing we're here to talk about, or why I'm here, is we're trying to size the pipe in the approach culvert.
If you do something.
And we'll put in the biggest damn thing we can put in there and go from there. This never started out to be about all this other stuff
It comes
with putting pipes through the road and
like that, it never goes through the 24.
and that's fine, we can continue to dig into it, but
So this 24 is essentially useless.
our topic's gotten a little off-center here.
Right. I think we put in 236s, we monitor it to see what effect, 'cause the only thing we're changing here is, before that was an open ditch,
Right.
and now there's an approach.
We permitted an approach there.
Which will have 2 36-inch culverts in it.
Right.
So that's the only change that we're making.
Yep.
And 2 36-inch culverts should allow in normal, and I know there's no such thing as normal, but in a normal rainfall, the 2 36 inches should more than handle any flow in that ditch.
All right, I got surplus stuff if you guys are done.
Any other questions, comments?
Did they have any time that they were gonna finish this review, IMAX?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the data's done, they're just putting it, they're doing an internal review of the format, and then they'll put all the fancy colors and shit on it, and so I would assume pretty quick, in a week maybe.
So at this point, we will direct Dirk to put in 2 36-inch culverts in the approach and monitor it going forward. Good enough? All right, now let's move on to surplus equipment, Dirk. Thank you for
Yeah.
providing that information.
Lynn, did you get this from somebody?
Yep.
Lori told me to put some stuff in surplus equipment, so I figured I better make sure. And then, we're gonna put these on Purple Wave, Lynn, but we got a whole bunch of other stuff we'll put on that other one, some smaller items.
Yeah, I talked to Don about that.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to surplus these 3 items. There's a 2012 Bobcat, which I can't remember specifically. I think, we got something that didn't fit out a different attachment, so we upsized one. It's 12 years old too. Motor grader, that one we had, and then Mike had it at the landfill, and then we got a better one that we got rid of, so Mike took the good one and gave us the crappy one, so somehow the landfill made out on that deal again. And, so we're gonna surplus that one, and then we got the road broom that's just used up. Those things are a lot of wear parts on them, so we could surplus those. We're gonna list them on Purple Wave here pretty quick, and they'll probably be up there for probably 30 days, I think they're on there. And then they just send you a check. Yeah.
All right. Entertain a motion to declare those 3 pieces of equipment surplus. Motion by Danner,
Second.
second by Feldheim. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Dirk.
Yep,
Anything else to report?
Just a couple things. I finally tracked down a shouldering machine, so we'll be throwing some shoulders on 12W and doing a few other roads. Hopefully we can it's a hard thing to find, to rent, I found 2 of them that a contractor has. I might try to horse trade him out of one of them, because that's certainly something we'll be using forever. So we'll get that on 12W. We're paving, shooting oil on 14 today. 5 should be done. We'll be paving 14 South 5 tomorrow, and then we got a little spot down at Tacoma Park Road on the bridge over the Crow Creek that's west side, or east side of that. Trucks come off of that, and it's just always a problem, so we're trying to strap that back together. Other than that, we'll be mowing, and then we got a bunch of gravel to haul, so.
Okay,
Anything else?
don't believe so.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You as well, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Next up, Judy Dosh, Building Superintendent, and Randy's in. Discuss a quote for air compressor with a dryer for the courthouse complex. Saw her walk by, saw Randy walk by. Judy, you're up.
Wait for my water.
No.
Good thing I came.
Good morning.
Got a quote on, and I was not able to get a second quote. They just could not get me a second quote. So I said, okay, I'm gonna just go with this one. It's for an air compressor and with a dryer. And that is for my pneumatic system, for the thermostats and everything. That does that whole annex in the courthouse and some of the jail. So the quote for that was $12,620. $16,620.
$12,000 or $16,000?
$12,620,000. Gotta get my glasses.
Say that one more time. $12,620,000.
$20.
$20.
I kept hearing that sound back there.
Yes, sorry.
$12,620.
$20, yes.
Now can we make the press repeat it back this way?
$12,620. Yes.
You
And
only
that
got
is for
one.
Honeywell. Only got one quote.
Okay.
I did check though with the other company that I was waiting for a quote from, and I said, okay, I said, you can't get me anything, I said, I'm just curious, just what the compressor, was gonna cost, and he said, well, over $9,000, so then I knew that this is a good price, because this is installed and everything, so.
Okay. Okay, entertain a motion to accept the bid from Honeywell. Motion by Gage. Second by Feldheim. Further discussion. Approving the quote for $12,620. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right.
So on to the tuck pointing, when I had wrote up the specs, I had included that, for each calendar day, that any part of the project remains incomplete after the time stated in the proposal, the sum of $500 for each day beyond shall be deducted from the money due the contractor. Well, with all the problems that we have, and they're gonna have to come back next year. So I would like to take this off. No need to be charging them $500,
When we know they can't get it
when we
done.
know they can't get it done, and all the issues that have to be taken care of before they can.
So it's no fault of
Thank
theirs.
you.
It's no fault of theirs. Yeah, it's unavoidable.
What you run into when you start tearing things apart.
Yep, yep.
All right, Ross, is there any, Ross? Did you hear that?
No,
Okay. We are going to eliminate the penalty part of the contract because of the hiccups that we've run into. Can we just remove that?
Yeah, you guys should probably waive it. I guess I never saw that contract, but.
It calls for a $500 a day deduction for every day they go over. but because of the issues we've run into, they're gonna have to come back next year.
I don't see why you can't waive it.
Okay? I just wanna make sure we're okay. Entertain a motion to waive.
Move to waive the $500 fee.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Gage. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. You gonna let them know?
Okay, I will. And then also, we lost some of our stone off of the garage. So I was wondering if you guys would like to go out and look at the stone on the garage, so that,
When we're done here, we'll walk out and take a look at it.
Okay.
What do you store in that garage?
well, we have our lawnmower, and I have all the ice melt, and we have tools, and, our
Vehicles?
Jeep. No, we can't get vehicles in there, just the lawnmowers and snow blowers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's just a storage area.
And
Not
then,
really
you know,
garage.
it's a, drop up, you know, when I buy supplies, that's where we put them in, and then when we have time, we can put them away, and,
Is there access from inside that to the courthouse itself?
to the boiler room.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
all right.
Yep,
So-
we'll walk over and take a look at it. when
Okay,
we're done.
give me a call.
Yep, will do. Thanks, Judy.
Yep.
Next up, Rachel Kipley, Fairgrounds Parks Manager, Fair Recap Update. Good morning, Rachel.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Morning, Olivia.
Good. Sorry, I was just informed I should get a briefcase. Here is recap. I think that was in your packet. There's a couple numbers that were updated.
Thank you.
So the first thing you'll notice is that we are kind of tracking tickets just a little bit different. The packages, instead of tracking how much money went in the package. Oh, thank you, yeah. We were excited on Friday to get some of the last reporting that we could add in, and obviously this isn't ever really final because we're still waiting on some of the vendors. So this year we had some electrical. We went and actually measured how much electrical the vendors were pulling. So when they said, hey, I only need a 50 amp, well, surprise, some of them needed double, triple what they were saying they needed. So we're actually charging them for the electrical after the fact. That's why the food line is not quite complete. Some of those haven't come in yet. The camper rent, we did start charging this year. You know, if you don't set a hard deadline, a lot of people will just show up a week early, and that really makes it tough to measure those campsites, keep things mowed and stuff like that. So the fair board decided to institute a $50 penalty if you pull in before Friday of the fair. Your contract allows you 10 days to camp at the fair, and some are coming in Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So we did actually take the time, which was kind of a lot for the board, but staff and board went out and marked when people came in early and charged them $50 for every night they came in. Then we also have the fair sponsorship. We got about 4 sponsorships that haven't come in yet, so that's why those are yellow. And then jumping back up to tickets, so we basically, a 4-day package, we took divided by the 4 and put it into the night. So if that makes sense, if it's for easy math, a $100 ticket, you'll see $25 of each of the ticket in each night. So that's why our numbers are tracking a little different up there on the tickets. We did get the ATM was a new vendor this year. You'll notice that line item went up significantly. The piece that he was able to give us for every successful transaction out there was a lot better contract than what we've been getting in the past. Hockey, Grandstand, and Centennial Village all came in. I think you guys have seen those reports. The Mega Pass continues to be awesome for the carnival numbers, so that was up. And yeah, overall, you'll notice it was just a dynamite year. We had a great board, they worked really hard, and that's a testament to them looking at these numbers. So is there any questions on those?
Despite the 3-inch rain on Wednesday, it turned out pretty darn good.
It sure did.
So it's the highest revenue ever for the fair.
Correct.
Great job.
Just the people doing, the folks we're working with, that's the fair board, so I gotta give them all the credit in the world.
Well, and like you mentioned, the ATM fees, I mean, that's a significant increase, so little things like that can really
Yeah.
add some significant additional revenue, so.
Yeah, that's one thing, just taking a hard look at all the different contracts that we've been doing for years and years instead of just re-upping them, is exploring new options, who's in that business now, and yeah, it's been good and creating some new partnerships as far as sponsorships go, and we'll continue to do that. The board does get organized here this week. Tomorrow is our first fair board meeting of the fair year. We have a number of new applicants and some returners, and it'll be great. So keep you posted on that. You'll have that on your agenda here in the next couple weeks of who they recommend appointment to for those terms. And then you guys have already done a number of the contract renewals, but there's just a ton of contracts we're looking at. So the grandstand 5-year contract, more of a fairgrounds thing, porta potties, stagehands, those are all already getting quotes and online. The next ones to come up, we have a deadline. In fact, I was going to give you this, and the clubhouse has to be decided. As far as our 3 concessionaires, obviously Centennial Village is in perpetuity, that's kind of ongoing. The grandstand we just redid, they have another year left, but the clubhouse is up for bids this year, and this is just kind of what we had. I got it right. According to ordinance, we got to have that figured out by December in order to give them ample time to get organized. So I'll pass that. And that's the ordinance that says how we handle those new concessions. About 8 years, we changed that to make sure that we were operating fairly for all nonprofits. So I know this isn't on the agenda, so I don't know if we want to get it on in the next couple weeks. I'll pass those around as well. This is what a sample contract for that clubhouse would look like. And there's 3 different handouts there. One is what Lynn's piece of it could be when we advertise, or the proposal, what the ordinance actually says as far as concessions and how we advertise those for every opportunity. And then the third one is an actual sample contract of how we can do that. You can either ask for a per keg, per case bid, or you could do I bid X number, just a flat rate for the week. And that's kind of what we did with the Hockey Association this year. It was either or for the higher of the 2. So just kind of look through that, and I can get back on the agenda and we can discuss that further. But just to keep it on your radar, we do have to have that awarded by the end of the year according to ordinance.
So we would just need to approve this contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for advertising.
Okay.
It's like a request for an RFP, not the contract, because we have to open it up to everybody. You'll see that in the first one that I handed out.
Okay.
But like I said, I'll get back on the agenda, and maybe when I come ask for the new board members to be seated, we can discuss that further. I know you guys get a full agenda. Other than that, yeah, it was a great year, and we'll keep plugging away. We already got offers in for all 4 headliners for next year, and no rest of the year, so.
Very good.
Any questions for me?
Job well done.
The other things I need, when it's time, contracts and personnel when you go in exec, so I'll stand by.
All right, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, next up, second reading and possible adoption of the following ordinances.
Ordinance 276, an ordinance amending Title 4, second revision, Brown County ordinance as amended to rezone certain described property, filed by Jeffrey Walt to go from heavy industrial district to highway commercial district.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 276? Now entertain a motion to approve.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Ordinance 277, an ordinance amending Title 4, second revision, Brown County ordinances as amended to rezone certain described property, filed by Amy and Joshua Gulfstead to go from Ag Preservation District to Mini Ag District.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 277? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
Motion by Dennert,
Second.
second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Ordinance 278, an ordinance amending Title 4, second revision, Brown County ordinances as amended to rezone certain described property, filed by Jackie Howler for SMP Holdings LLC to go from Ag Preservation District to Mini Ag District.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 278? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now, moving on, we'll continue with the consent calendar.
Claims and payroll.
Move.
Motion by Dennert,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Dennert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Set hearing date for package off-sale liquor license and authorized advertising.
Move.
Motion by Gage,
Second.
second by Feldheim. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Set hearing date for retail on-sale liquor license transfers and authorized advertising.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Travel requests.
Move.
Motion by Gage,
Second.
second by Feldheim. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Landfill tonnage report for September.
Move. Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Feldheim. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Abatements and refunds.
Move.
Motion by Dennert,
Second.
second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any other business to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? We've had a request to go into executive session for personnel and probably contracts.
Move.
Motion by Gage, second by Feldheim to go into executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, lights back on. We're back in session out of exec with no action as a result. You have anything for us, Lynn? Did her job. All right, if there's nothing else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning, we should adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Dennert, second by Feldheim to adjourn.